Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Saygıdeğer hocalarım,
Esteemed professors,
değerli katılımcılar,
honorable participants,
sizleri selamların en güzeliyle
I would like to greet you all
hürmetle,
with my
muhabbetle
deepest regards at the outset of my
Esselamu aleyküm
remarks.
ve rahmetullahi ve berekatuh. 12.
We are here for the
İslam Ekonomisi
12th International Conference on Islamic Economics and Finance, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who made this event possible. Hopefully this conference will be auspicious for our nation, for our country, and for humanity at large.
konferansa yurt içinden
We have participation from within Turkey and from outside Turkey as well, and taking this opportunity, I would like to thank everyone for their contributions for making this event such a successful event. The first conference was actually organized back in 1966, and we are here for the 12th of this conference under the auspices of Said University here in Istanbul. The university takes its name from a renowned professor, Professor Sabahattin Zaim,
İslam ekonomisi
on Islamic economy and finance. He
imza atmış.
published groundbreaking works, and he was a renowned scientist. He dedicated his entire life to science and to raising new generations. The late Sabahattin Zaim, we commemorate his memory here today. Again, taking this opportunity, on Thursday, Professor Sabri Orman sadly passed away, and again I'd like to offer my condolences to his family. Sabri Orman, just like his master, the late Sabahattin Zaim, was steeped in Islamic finance, and he published many a renowned work on this topic. And thanks to their efforts, this university has now become a source of pride for us all. Thanks to the books that they authored and students that they raised, they left an indelible legacy. These two professors remain in our hearts, and we need to take ownership of their legacy, I believe. The 12th International Conference on Islamic Economics and Finance is a step in that direction, is a very valuable step in that direction indeed. Dear brothers and sisters, we are all beset by the coronavirus pandemic. All across the world, fundamental changes are happening, and a new era is being heralded in. Yes, this pandemic may look like a healthcare-related crisis, but its implications will be felt in all areas of our lives, from workforce to trade, from personal relations to public security. In many areas, we will see seismic shocks of the pandemic. We're already witnessing such seismic shocks. In the last couple of days, in certain Western countries, we see street incidents. And yes, they were propelled by racism, but also injustices revealed by this pandemic. In this process, from an economic point of view, we see that countries that do well fell short of obtaining masks for everyone or rendering minimum healthcare services. We saw that people who were not covered by healthcare insurance were left to perish. And we saw such embarrassing pictures. We saw also saddening pictures from care homes for the elderly. These all shook us profoundly and made us concerned in the name of humanity and in the name of our future. This pandemic has shown that financial riches does not bring about welfare for all. More than 500,000 people have lost their lives, and this was not only because of the coronavirus pandemic. Unfortunately, in many countries around the world, the systems favor not the weak but the strong, not the poor but the rich, not the majority but a handful of minority. Unfortunately, the systems are stacked up against the poor. provided you have power and financial means, you can benefit from certain services. And if you're in the periphery of the society, and if you do not have the necessary financial means, then at a time of crisis like this, you are sadly left to your own devices. But as Turkey, thankfully, during this pandemic, we have done our best and we have reduced the negative impact of this pandemic thanks to our strong healthcare infrastructure and also thanks to the inclusive economic and social benefits that we offer our citizens. We have passed this test with flying colors. Regardless of their level of income, we did not leave any of our citizens to their we did not leave them to their own devices. And in addition to this, we offered healthcare services and healthcare aid to 125 nations across the globe. We have always believed in the credo that unless you serve humanity, you will not be able to achieve success. We have allocated all our resources for the entire humanity. Again, within this process, instead of getting loans from international financial institutions, we mobilized our own resources, and we also made deals via our central bank with friendly nations, and we devised a new model that's based on the win-win philosophy. We did not compromise on our financial independence, and we did not put shackles on Turkey under the pretext of another relationship based on Regency. Now, the first quarter growth rates stood at 4.5%. So this goes to show that Turkey is doing so much better than other countries, not just in healthcare, but in economics as well. Now, in terms of employment, we see a positive acceleration. In the second quarter, because of precautionary measures against COVID-19, we have seen some setbacks, but for the entirety of the year, I think the picture looks quite positive and promising. Rating agencies that have lost their reputations, their views, we do not take into account. We do not take into account the views of naysayers. Their hopes will once again be proven false. And we have operationalized our normalization calendar in production, in trade, in tourism. We see revitalization in all of these areas. Turkey's success in terms of managing the crisis has also increased the interest that other countries have in Turkey. Inshallah, in the next months to come, we will turn this interest into an opportunity, and we will have weathered this storm, having added to our strength as Turkey. Dear guests, as Turkey, for a long time, we believe that the global order should be reordered, reconstituted based on justice and equity. Oppression, interests, and interest rates should not be the tenets of a global order. Sadly, the current financial order is based on these tenets, and as such, it fails in protecting human beings. A Western economic professor made a confession, and I think these words are important in terms of understanding the true character of the system. He said, "We are affluent because countries and continents were deserted because of us. People died because of us." Despite all these riches, people still die in poverty, and every 10 years we see a repetition of economic crises. And all of these go to show that we need to redress this balance. In 2008, a financial crisis hit the world, and it was because of the fact that our economy is based on interest rates and shallow financial gains. And this crisis revealed the shortcomings of the global financial order. In terms of production, in terms of welfare, we expect the financial system to make positive contributions, but now it is dominating all the financial activities. The financial sector must underpin production, but instead all the other industries are underpinning the financial sector, and as such this is an unsustainable order. We're talking about excessive financialization, and humanitarian perspectives are not taken into account. This is like an obese economic model that does not care about anything but itself. Unlike what is promised all across the world in terms of distribution of justice and wealth and income, we see that the gap is getting wider and wider. Every crisis that starts in the financial industry has a negative impact on the real sector and creates new armies of the unemployed. And this needs to be replaced with a new order that puts the human being at the center, and that is the Islamic economy and financial system. The Islamic system rejects oppression and exploitation and is respectful towards the environment, and as such it is our way out of this crisis. In the future of the planet, instead of the current economic system, we need to establish a new system that is participatory and that is based on sharing of the risks. Evolving technologies and financial technology applications are transforming Islamic finance practices and making them more widespread across the world. Islamic finance institutions that work on a system of profits and losses attract the interest of hundreds of millions of people that do not wish to deal with interest rates. In the last couple of years, these financial institutions have been able to weather economic shocks with great speed, and they have attracted the attention of wide ranges of the society. United Nations Trade and Development Conference has stated that in the developing nations, the total amount of investment needed is $3.9 trillion per annum. And the current investment rates are around 2.5 trillion US dollars. Bearing this in mind, we can stipulate that there is a financial gap that needs to be filled. In order to fill this gap, participatory banking and financial institutions can take initiative and can assume responsibility. Long-term infrastructure investments can also benefit from products such as sukuk, and if we make their use widespread, we would do well in terms of making this possible. Of course, in order to implement all of these steps, just like politicians, academics such as you must assume responsibility, universities must also assume responsibility. Let us join forces. Let us assume this responsibility once and for all. New windows of opportunity will emerge on the horizon if we do that. Dear friends, as Turkey, in the last 18 years, based on participation and alternative models in our financial industry, we have done our utmost best. We have taken many steps. Our Islamic financial institutions shares in the industry stood at 2% back in 2002, and we have increased that more than threefold. Now it stands at more than 6%. In Turkey, participation finance has a huge potential. The potential stands at 20% according to some studies, and inshallah by 2025 we will increase these figures even further and fulfill our goals. Under the auspices of our state, again based on the principle of participation, new partnerships have increased. The number now stands at 6. Participation financial institutions in 2015 had $15 billion of assets, and this year that now stands at 319 million. Interest-free system is being devised thanks to participation companies. In 2015, the first public participation initiative, Ziraat participation, was launched, and then Vakıf participation was launched, and Türkiye Emlak participation was inaugurated in the system. In financial markets and in insurance areas, in the last couple of years, we have made great strides as Turkey. Now, the Turkish Treasury issued many products, and now Sukuk products are listed there as well. And within G20 and IOC, we have done our best to do away with barriers against participation, banking, and Islamic banking. We believe that as a country that is at the crossroads of countries and continents, we are well positioned and well heeled to be at the heart of Islamic finance and participatory banking. As I conclude my remarks, I do hope that the 12th International Conference on Islamic Economics and Finance is auspicious for us all. And taking this opportunity, I would like to extend my gratitude to everyone who helped with this conference and compliment them for their success. And finally, greet you all with my deepest regards. Thank you very much indeed.
Sayın Cumhurbaşkanım, teşrifleriniz bizler için çok önemliydi.